Alright folks, and welcome to episode 113 of the 10-minute modeling challenge. And I have been doing a lot of modeling the past couple of weeks, let me tell you. And it's over 3,000 props if we look into the distance here. Absolutely insane. And a lot of them are of course a bit duplicates because I colorize it using my trusted palette here, so the Infensia Pixel Pal. You can download that in the description, check the link I've been using. So everything here is using one single material, which is an absolute fantastic nice thing, because it's a lot faster to make the assets, even though this has probably taken me, I don't know, 20 hours or something to make all of this. But let's have a look at the categories. First, we've got a whole bunch of TVs, different sizes here, got ranging from like 77-inch down to like little teeny weeny things here, like 24-inch. Kitchen TVs or something. And then we've got a whole bunch of speakers and sound bars, and you can also notice here that I've got duplicates of them also in the shape here, because everything usually looks like all these geometrically perfect shapes, but I've also wonkified it, so we'll duplicate a lot of things and put some character to it. I think it looks a lot nicer when you create a scene sometimes to put like little cartoony styled. So a lot of the assets, including the TVs here for example, have a wonkified version of them. So we've got a whole bunch of computers, and if I press space you can see that we've RGB monitored. This is again a feature of this palette, because on the right part here of this palette it's just scrolling these UVs up and down, or up, and it loops it. So computers and like the keyboards here, and I think the laptops further down here as well. You've got the RGB animated things there, so that just comes with the territory. Keyboards, mice, mouse mats, and some printers here as well. And the emission material, you can see that a lot of this stuff is lit up as well, like this little display here. Display on the printer is lit up. And then we've got some gaming consoles. Let's see, bonus points if you can name which ones these are. A lot of this stuff I've just winged it, like all of the computer stuff is just like, I'll just randomly model something that I can think of. But a few of these have actually got some real world counterparts, so let's see if you can guess those. And then we've got the laptops here again, so we've got 13-inch and 15-inch versions of them, and some different shapes and colors. We've got the reflective material here, they're metal. Got a whole bunch of screens here, including curved gaming monitors here, and we've got amplifiers. Some random props that you can just fill up with the bookshelves. We've got a whole bunch of like pre-made stacks of books here. We've got single individual books, and these are my favorite here, just like colorized boxes. That's how simple it can be sometimes. But also, like if you stick this in the kitchen cabinets or in some bookshelves and stuff, it looks pretty cool. Got a whole bunch of jars and tins here, and some bins, and A4 paper, why not? Here we've got some kitchen props, lights and toasters, kettles and bottles and things. We've got some reflective stuff. Power sockets, you've got brass versions, white, black, and metal.
You can barbecue it, boil it, broil it, bake it, saute it.
Alarm panels or something like that. And here you don't see this in the everyday low poly pack, do you? So we've got 3 racing sims. And then I've modeled a bunch of pianos here, some wonkified pianos, and today I added some MIDI keyboards, full length 88 key and some shorter ones. A whole bunch of ceiling lamps, wall lamps, and I struggled for about, I don't know, 30 minutes over a cup of coffee. Should I call it lamps or lights? And then I figured if I put lights, I'll confuse it a little bit with lights as in light sources, like as in a light in the game engine or in Unity, so I ended up calling it lamps, which is probably totally wrong. You got the emissive versions with some different, again, we've got metal, black, brass, and white, and then I've got some disabled. This is just where I don't use the emissive part of the texture down here. And then we've got some table lamps, and we've got some floor lamps of different shapes, and we've got a whole bunch of kitchen appliances, both the wonkified versions. I went a little bit overboard with the wonkification here on the on the fridges and freezers. We've got dryers, washers, microwaves, gas stoves, dishwashers, and
Shrimp gumbo, pan fried, deep fried, stir fried. There's pineapple shrimp.
Some kitchen furniture, and we've got a bathroom section here with toilets of different shapes, wonkified of course as well. Some showers, we've got toilet rolls of course, towel racks with towels, without towels, and a whole bunch of bathtubs, mirrors, and we've got bathroom furniture, some plants for the pots, and here are the pots themselves. We've got ceiling fans, aquariums. This is my favorite. My son came in after school today and said, "Hey Dad, these are just like lit boxes. No one's gonna know that that's an aquarium." But I said, "Son, if you stick it in a room, it'll look like an aquarium, trust me. We've got air conditioners here, wonkified as well. We've got some radiators, different shapes, and a whole bunch of pictures. And the one issue is, of course, when I do everything with geometry instead of textures, is that whatever I'm going to put on the picture is going to be limited. I'm not going to be able to create masterpieces there, but I just decided to create some random abstract art. Got a whole bunch of mirrors, and we've got dining tables. This is where we come into the IKEA section again. Bunch of different dining tables. We've got computer desks with LED lights on some of them. Well, I call them office desks. Got coffee tables and bedside tables. We've got some shelves for the walls. Got a whole bunch of bookcases, cabinets, and drawers, and TV benches. Then we come into the couch section.
Shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger.
Armchairs, and here's a whole bunch of office chairs. Obviously, a lot of these are duplicated and colorized in different versions. Got dining chairs and some bar stools. And finally, coming over to a whole bunch of beds here. So we've got singles, doubles, and king size. Different shapes and materials on the bases and stuff like that, and the colors. And some rugs. And let's finish off with some very basic curtains and doors.
That's about it.
So all in all, it's over 3,000 assets, and if we put into like this section, we can actually switch to the rendered view here, and let's switch off the light and the overlays there. And this is what it could look like when you slap it into a scene. So I'm looking forward to bringing this into Game Engine soon. So if we have a look here, we can see that we've got the keyboard section here, like an absolutely huge simulator, got a bathroom and some towels and all the stuff that you could need. Here I've just randomly allocated sounds so, I don't know, unprofessional or professional, but I've just like randomly dragged some items in to see what it could look like. So I'm really excited to bring this primarily into Unity and Unreal Engine to see what we can make out of it. And today I'm going to be modeling a few things just to add to this pack. And speaking about game engines, one of the news this week is that Unity has really done something to upset the internet quite a bit, because they've changed their licensing again, and I'm not really much of a fan when it comes to complicated licensing. In fact, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible, and I think maybe people are raving a little bit more than what's necessary, because it won't really affect most people, but they've complicated it unnecessarily. And unfortunately, I think this is another step in Unity's direction of going a little bit in the wrong way. If anything, they should make people happier and not more upset. First of all, they're scrapping the Plus version of Unity, which is a bit of a shame, because if you don't want to have the splash screen, which is like, I don't really like to have the Unity splash screen when you start one of the games. That used to be perfectly fine to do in the Plus version, but now you require the Pro version from next year. So it's going to cost you $2,000 a year just to remove the splash screen. And of course there are other benefits as well, but something simple like that, I'm really annoyed that. Probably what is upsetting people the most is the fact that they're charging per install of the game. Like I said, most people won't really get affected by this, because you have to get up into a large amount of installs, and you have to make quite a bit of money on your games. I can't remember the exact figures now. If you're using the personal version of Unity, you have to sell the game, or it has to generate a revenue of $200,000. And then if you install more than 200,000 copies of the game, then you're going to pay 20 cents per copy of install once. So they've named it a little bit stupid. They say that it's a monthly fee, but as far as I know, it's just one-time fee for that month. But I think they've really complicated a little bit too much. And if you bump it up to the Pro version or the Enterprise, then those figures go up to $1 million and 1 million installs. So if you're wondering what I'm going to be doing with all these assets, I've got a few different plans for it. First of all, it's going to be coming up on Invensia.com as a downloadable or purchasable pack. And my patrons, because you're so awesome, especially the hero tier, which is helping me a tremendous amount, and this is quite a substantial pack, I'll include this one so my hero tier patrons can download this one. So that's my gift to patrons. But I'll also sell it. If you don't want to become a patron, that's fine, but you still want the asset pack, you can purchase it there instead. I'll just make it a purchasable product. I'm also going to be uploading this to the Unity Asset Store, and when the Fab Store from Epic is released later on, I'll be uploading it there as well. So that's going to be pretty cool. You can grab it there, and I'll give you a shout on Twitter and in YouTube here as well, and on my Discord once this is available. And I'm hoping to follow up this with a whole bunch of new packs as well, because obviously after interior, I can do historic or futuristic interiors, I can do exteriors, nature packs,
Shrimp and potatoes,
modular buildings, vehicles, props, weapons, all sorts of things. There's just so many things, and these are going to go with the crisply characters, the mini series. So everything like this is going to be compatible with those characters, which is going to be pretty cool. You can have little characters walking around in the environment. And I also want to use these assets myself. So when I create my YouTube videos to explain something, maybe I'll do a tutorial. I want to use these type of assets and make it a little bit more interesting when I make my videos. So I've actually got a purpose for them for myself as well. It's going to be cool to have just a big library to choose from when I create some scenes to explain what I'm trying to talk about. Ready? Steady? Go. Yep, it's ticking. So I'll just start down here. I'll grab one of these, easy to start from. Shift-E to duplicate it. I'll name them later on. I'll do a fire extinguisher first, I think. So let's just Control R there, Control R, and Alt select these. Scale, Shift Z to scale on all the other axes. There we go. Let's bring it up to here, and it's not actually round, so scale on the X-axis. A to select everything, scale X-axis, that'll be okay. And then we'll do E to extrude, S to scale, E to extrude, S to scale, Shift D to duplicate, scale it up. I don't know what a fire extinguisher look like, but it's okay. L to select the link twice here, X, and do limited dissolve. And here I'll just do Shift D to duplicate, scale, move it in, E to extrude, and we'll do some sort of a E to extrude again, and E to extrude, and scale it down. I don't know what they look like, but it's okay. So here we go, and then L to select the link, L to select the link here. We'll grab this, and on the left side, A to select all of it, and then move it down to some metal, shiny metal, no, some dull metal here. And then this one, L to select the link, and this one, I'll also do A to select, and then G to move it down, and we'll bring it into some sort of maybe a dull metal red there. So that's our, okay, we need a label on it too. I'll do Control R and roll it up with a scroll wheel, and G, and then just put this on a white label here. So that's our fire extinguisher, and after that I'm going to do a moving box. So because I'll be moving to a new house soon, or a rental house, we're changing that one. And I think if I remember the dimensions correctly, we can actually type that in here. I think they're 0.50 in one direction, so half a meter, and I think they're about 30 centimeters. So dimensions 0.3 and about 40 high. Obviously there are different ones, but 0.4. Control A, because we have to apply the scale, so we get 0 there. A, and then we'll grab this one down to color, which is like this. And then maybe we'll put a lid on it, Shift E to duplicate that whole thing, and E to extrude. L to select the linked, and just do it a little bit darker, and we'll put some handles as well. Actually, I'll shrink that down a little bit. And then here we'll do this way, I to inset, S to scale on the Z axis, move it up, scale Z again, and move it down to there. That's it. That's our moving. Actually, we put a label on it as well. I to inset, and that's it. G, and there's our label. So that's pretty good. And then we'll do a wonkified version of this. This is usually how I do this one. Just do Shift D to duplicate it, and then we'll do G to grab that one, move this one, G, and GG slides it on like that to keep the planes there, so that's pretty handy. GG and GG. Then we'll just drag this one in a bit and scale this one down, move it down, and move that on a bit. So, and I might have to make these planar, so I've got the edit, we've got this loop tools, and I'll do flatten here just to make sure that one's flat. And this one, the label, we can wonkify as well, GG and GG. So that's our moving. Okay, we've got an issue here. That's it. All right, so I need a clock as well, maybe. So we'll do, how am I doing? 6:15. Takes longer than you think. If I do one object, usually you can spend more time on it. But when you're making multiple objects, time feels like it's moving super fast. But let's make a clock. Actually, I'll do it simpler here. I'll do Shift D to duplicate, right click, subdivide, circle, scale it up, E to extrude, I to inset, and E to extrude, S to scale. Then we'll do L, and I'm just going to move this one to a white color. Or I don't like to use fully white. I'd like to have it a little bit off-white so I can get some highlights on it if necessary. Control plus, and then this one we'll just do a black version of it here. There we go. And I don't put the dials and stuff on it because it's so low poly that I won't need that. But I will need to set the pivot point. So L, delete verts, and there. Shift S, cursor selected, right click, set origin to 3D cursor, and there's our clock. And right click, origin to 3D cursor. There we go. So that's our clock. I'll do Shift D to duplicate, and let's make one that's out of wood as well. So I'll just grab this black stuff and move it to there. And we can make maybe a metal one as well. Shift D, and then move this one down to metal here. Oh, starting to speak Swedish. Någonstans, which means somewhere. There we go. So we've got 3 clocks there. Should we do some fruit for the bowl as well? Maybe I'll go down to the fruit bowl here. So I'll just grab that face, Shift D to duplicate it, and actually, do you know what? I'll just do Shift D to duplicate that one, E to extrude, S to scale, E to extrude, E to extrude, S to scale, and that's our apple, I guess. Do G, red apple. Okay, we need to put a little thing on it here. Shift D to duplicate, E to extrude. Okay, this is too many polygons. So here I run into a little bit issue sometimes that you could argue wastes time, because all I want is a quad here. So I'll delete, or I'll do X and then dissolve verts. It's just I found it faster to do this way than adding a quad, because I'm so used to just the normal operations. E to extrude, and we'll just do scale it down, and then I'll control click, scale, well, control right click. And we'll put a leaf on here as well. So Shift D to duplicate it, scale it on the Y-axis, scale it down more, E to extrude, and then control right click, scale, control right click, scale on the Z-axis, G, and we'll have to make, so 3 minutes. We'll just grab this one, make it some green somehow, maybe a dark green. There we go. I'll put that. Shift D. Is this more of a tomato than an apple? Don't really have leaves on them. Yeah. Never mind. L, 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 and then G to move it, rotate, Shift D to duplicate, rotate, Shift D to duplicate. These are more tomatoes, I guess. There we go. And I can do O for proportional, G, scroll it down, and then we'll make them a little bit different. G, 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 and rotate maybe, G. There we go. So maybe we'll just keep Shift D to duplicate that one. We'll just have one version with those in, I guess. So, and then we'll take them away from this. So L, 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 for selecting all the linked here. So this is how I've been doing most of the assets. I just go through them like this. What else we can do? Maybe some plates we need and stuff like that. So here again, we'll go Shift D to duplicate some random stuff here. Move this one. Actually, what I'll do is I've got 1 minute to do. So Shift D to duplicate, because I just want a single face that's facing upward instead. And then I'll right click, do my normal subdivide, circle, scale, E to extrude, S to scale, I to inset, and E to extrude, S to scale. And L to select linked, and on the right here we'll just do some slightly off white plate, and I can just do L to select the link, delete this one, and on this one I'm going to actually stick the pivot point at the bottom here. So we'll just do Shift S, cursor selected, right click, set origin to cursor, and then we can actually check the size of this as well. 45 centimeters, that's quite a big plate, so I'll do 8, select everything, scale it down. Maybe this one's better. 30 centimeters, probably pretty good. Apply the scale, and we can do a stack of dishes as well. So I'll do Shift D to duplicate that one. We'll put this into the same object. So A to select all the linked, and X. Actually, I'll do X and limited dissolve, because we don't need the extra verts, those extra verts. Shift D to duplicate. Rotate a little bit, and I'll just wing it a little bit here. Rotate Z, G, Shift D, duplicate. This could be good in the kitchen maybe to have in the sink. So there we go, a little bit stuck. Should we put another one? Shift D, it's been a party or something. or someone's just plain lazy. So rotate Z. So that's a bunch of plates. Actually, we'll do another one here. H, select the linked X. Limited is all 23 seconds. So I'll just do one more stack here. Shift D, duplicate, rotate, rotate Z, Shift D, duplicate, Shift D, duplicate. So there we go. 10 seconds to go. I'll do one more. Shift D to duplicate. 8, select, Shift D, and rotate Z, and Shift D, rotate Z. All right, folks. So there we go. In 10 minutes now, I managed to do. Let's see what we did. We did a fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher 01, because I number everything in case I add more stuff in the future. So that, and the pivot point is that of this one's pretty good. It's at the bottom there, so we'll keep it there. It'll be easy to, if I hold the control key for snapping, it's easy to place it. Then we've got a moving box, so we'll call it this one removal box 01. And here I'm going to be doing, I'm going to rename this pretty much the same, but I'm putting in the prefix here of CIM, so Crispily Interiors Modern, I put a W here because that's a wonkified version of this very same item. For the clocks here, I'm going to put clock, and then I'll put 01, and as a suffix, so after the number here, I'm going to put black, because that's the color change that we are having on this one. So I'll copy this one, and this one's going to be brown, and I'll copy or rename this one gray. And then we've got plate here. I'll just, I guess, plain plate there, 01. This one's going to be plate stack 3, F2, stack 4, and how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stack 5. And then we had a variation of this bowl here. This one was bowl 1, so I'm going to put a suffix here of full or fruit, even though that might be tomatoes or something. I don't know if that's very impressive. 10 minutes for a fire extinguisher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 objects. So not super impressive. Sometimes things go faster, sometimes it goes slower. And usually to create the first item of a set, like this set of books, for example, maybe that took 5 minutes or something. But creating these alternative versions that actually look very different when you just slap them in a bookshelf, then it goes a little bit faster, of course. So it's creating the first object of a kind that is taking a little bit of extra time. Also, you have to make sure that the pivot points are all right. And usually you want this one, you want it at the bottom of the box. That is fine. On the plates, you want it at the bottom of the plates so you can place them all down. So all of this is pretty good. And to finish off the video, let's have a look if we place this in our little demo scene. So I'll put, I'll bring the showcase room up here as well. We'll grab this one, the wonkified version, the clock, a stack of plates, a single plate, this one, the fire extinguisher, and the full bowl here. I'll do top view, Shift D to duplicate them. Let's bring them over here so we can see them a little bit better. And then I'm just gonna grab this fruit bowl, G, hold the control key and snap it into place. I'll have to move this one there. It's starting to get a little bit messy in here now. And then here, G, let's just put a fire extinguisher, I don't know, where should we put it? Here, by the simulator, might catch on fire. That's a big fire extinguisher, that's good. Put the fire out. Maybe the moving box can just go here, still moving in, rotate, slight difference there. We've got some here plates, we've got G, should we slap them here? And here I've actually, oh no, this is the clock of course. So where should we have the clock? Maybe I'll put that on this wall, rotate, Z, 90, negative. G, move it onto there, there could be a clock there. And then we've got the plates in the sink and maybe one here on table there as well. Should we put them down into the sink? And then I'm going to switch the view here to rendered so we can see what it looks like. We'll put the clock over here, very basic, low poly, no dials on it. Got the fire extinguisher, the bowl of fruit, some extra plates, and the removal box. One final thing that I want to recommend, it's sometimes it can get a little bit tedious to doing the same thing over and over again. And I wrote a Twitter post or an X post the other day, just how I get through these things a little bit. And I've realized that if I set myself blocks of 2 hours and say, I'm not going to do anything else now, I'm just going to be modeling for 2 hours, and I'll listen to a podcast or something or some music. And then it's a little bit easier to focus then because I don't allow myself to get distracted. After the 2 hours, I'll check the time and maybe it's time to pick up the kids or go and do, I don't know, eat or go for a little walk or something, and I do that, and then I'll come back and I know when I've got another 2 hours, I'll just dedicate my time and I'll get cracking. It's quite nice to see the stuff growing, and when you get into a routine, it makes it a little bit easier. So that's a little tip for you if you want to have some extra motivation there to how to get through something like this and model 3000 assets. Just perseverance, have some fun, break it down into 2 hour blocks and just crack at it. Check out infenzia.com if you want to grab a hold of these. They'll be up there shortly. I'm just going to package them up. All the assets are done now, so I'm going to be excited to release it, and maybe you can create some cool games or videos using them. Who knows? Give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in a video shortly again. Until next time, take care and bye for now.